For decades, Kenyans have asked a difficult question. Why do some countries rise, while others, just as talented, just as hardworking, remain stuck? This is not a story about race. It is not a story about luck. And it is not a story about leaders alone. It is a story about systems. In this documentary series, we explore 3 pillars that determine whether a nation succeeds or struggles in the modern world. Pillar 1 is education. Not just schooling, but how a country builds skills, thinking citizens, and productive workers. Pillar 2 is politics and institutions, the rules and incentives that shape behavior. Pillar 3 is technology, artificial intelligence, and human capital. How nations multiply the productivity of their people. This video is part 1 of 3. Today we begin with the foundation of everything else, education. When we hear the word education, we often think of exams, certificates, and graduation ceremonies. But globally, education means something very different. It is not about memorization. It is about capability, the ability to think critically, to solve problems, to adapt when the world changes. In many systems, including Kenya's, education answers one question: can this student pass an exam? In high-performing systems, education answers a different one: can this person create value in the real world? That difference matters more than we realize. Because no nation becomes first world by accident. It is built, classroom by classroom.
Kenya's education system did not fail overnight. It was designed for a different era. An era of stable jobs, limited competition, and paper-based economies. Exams became the filter. University became the prize. White-collar employment became the goal. For a time, this system worked, for a small elite. But the world changed. Technology accelerated. Jobs became skills-based. Adaptability became essential. Kenya's education system, however, changed slowly. Today, the pressure is visible everywhere. Public universities are under severe financial strain. Students are protesting. Parents are overwhelmed. Institutions are expected to educate more students with shrinking support. Quality is strained. At the same time, Kenya is transitioning to the Competency-Based Curriculum, or CBC. CBC promised a shift away from rote memorization towards skills, creativity, and problem-solving. In theory, this was the right direction. In practice, the transition has been uneven. Teachers were often underprepared. Infrastructure was inconsistent. Parents were left confused. Costs quietly shifted to households. Worse still, CBC became politicized. Education reform cannot succeed when it changes direction with every election. Kenya also spoke proudly of free primary and secondary education. Education as a public good, not a privilege. Today, that promise feels fragile. Fees continue to rise. Hidden costs accumulate. What is free in principle has become expensive in practice. The laptop program symbolized progress. But technology alone is not transformation. Without trained teachers, reliable electricity, and curriculum alignment, devices become symbols, not solutions. Other countries faced similar challenges. They did not rely on slogans or announcements. They asked one critical question: what skills will our economy need 10, 20, 30 years from now? Education policy was aligned to that answer. Teachers were trained continuously. Technical and vocational paths were respected. Failure was treated as feedback, not disgrace. Education was not separated from the economy. It was designed for it. Kenya does not need to copy another country. It needs to adopt principles, stability, skill alignment, long-term thinking. Because education reform takes time, and systems resist shortcuts. Education builds the individual, but individuals do not operate in a vacuum. Even the best educated citizens can be trapped by broken systems. That brings us to the second pillar: politics and institutions. Why good ideas fail, why reforms stall, and why leadership alone is never enough. Part 2 of this series is coming next, because education prepares people, but institutions determine whether they can succeed.